What's going on? What's going on? How are we doing, everybody? Welcome back to the Real Deal Futures show, or whatever we're going to call this, live trading with Zach. What's up, man? Been a while. Good to see you, man. Take that 20. My man won one of the giveaways I was doing in the chat. Said he put it towards a TPT, Take Profit Trader account. Been growing daily. Grabbed 34 points this morning. Nice, man. Nice. He says TPT just suits me better than Top, referring to Top Step. Totally cool, man. No, yeah, I get that, man. It's not gonna be one size fits all for everybody. I really like Top Step. I am biased in that opinion, but there's going to be different rules, different regulations, different advantages and disadvantages for each, and I suggest that everybody does their own research and find something that suits them. Apex works for a lot of guys. Certainly wouldn't work for me, but there's nothing wrong with finding what works for you. That's the theme in trading, man. No one way to do it. Find stuff that works well for you and use that to your advantage. For sure, man. Appreciate it and what you do with the community you're building. For sure, man. That's the name of the game. I really enjoy doing it. Been building a really, really fast-growing community. Got a couple things in the works that I would expect will accelerate this growth. So I'm excited about that. But going to be looking at ES here as we usually are on the 5-minute, the 100-tick chart here on TopstepX. Got a combine loaded up, fresh combine. Took one trade on it. I don't even know what I was doing where I made $36, but that's where we're at here on this one. Solid morning. Took some buys on the way up. That played out nicely. A little bit of aggressive scalping action played out nicely this morning. Let's do a little bit of an analysis. Jump out to the 5-minute here. Zoom way out. We could see what happened yesterday, right? Here was 9:30 a.m. yesterday, July 1st. Sold off during the day. Some big price action here. Put the low in. Pulled all the way back up towards end of session. We could see that closing out right here. Overnight, trailed all the way down to that low, cracked just below it, and we pushed back up for today. We've been looking pretty bullish. We've broken above yesterday's high. This is prior day high right here. And looks like we're trailing up, right? Maybe towards this this volume point of control from Friday. I like this line. Lines up with some areas that have been tested as support and resistance, so that's why I marked this on the chart. Typically don't mark old volume points of control, but this is from Friday's session. I like that as a zone. I would have a box there, a zone, support and resistance, whatever you want to call it, if I didn't have that. See, lines right up with this area. So maybe we trail up towards that. We'll watch this on lower time frames. Going to try to get some trading in, man. I don't like coming on here and just sitting around watching the charts, but we have good conversations. I answer questions. We talk trading. So let's get back to my 5-minute over here. Zoom out. Get the VWAP loaded up. If you guys see me doing that when I'm switching time frames, it is so the VWAP loads back up. I think this is loaded, but we'll go ahead and just double check. Yeah, we're good. Let's see what Bookmap is looking like on the side. Yeah, man, interesting coincidence to say that I've had some pretty solid trading days coming back from a 2-week vacation, 2-week break, and using Bookmap. Coincidence? Maybe. I think so. But I do like to point out stuff like that. Yeah, Bookmap's been really fun to watch. It's really interesting to watch order flow. To look at the order book, depth of market. I think what they call current order book is going to be the DOM, but again, I'm new with Bookmap, so I'm not going to act like I'm an expert with anything. The heat map's really cool. That's mainly what I'm looking at. The volume bubbles. Obviously, I can understand volume. I can understand horizontally plotted session volume and the volume that's visible. That's cool to watch. But watching the order book and the heat map, showing you where resting orders are in the market, where the liquidity is, and then where price moves in relation to that, how it reacts when it gets up or down to those levels. It's certainly interesting. Very, very interesting. I think that I'm really going to like utilizing it in my trading. Again, being able to visualize it in a lot easier way outside of just a raw depth of market, flashing up numbers, I think dumbs it down for me in a pretty nice way. Makes it really easy to visualize. I like to keep things simple. I like to be able to make quick trading decisions, and having to really take my attention away from maybe just the chart to look at something else. It's got to be, it's got to be quick, got to be really intuitive, and I've found that just on a couple days in with Bookmap so far. So excited to see how this continues to play. But yeah, up above, putting the highs in for the day, right? Kind of consolidating up to this point. We cracked above this, not with a whole lot of force, but definitely some volume that came up, pushing price higher. Maybe we get a pullback here. Maybe we just run, but I'm gonna look to take some trades if at all possible. Probably be scaling into them if it makes sense, but these will be definitely discretionary. The same way that I always am trading, with market structure, price action, volume, horizontal levels, the basic stuff you see on my chart. But I'd like to get some trades in with you guys here. Explain what I'm doing, the way that I trade, demonstrate it. Whether they're wins or losses is fine. If we end up with just straight consolidation like we saw yesterday, if you go back and watch yesterday's live, I can read that, and any trade that I would have taken would have been a loss. It's not fun to just take trades to take losses just because we're trading live here. So that's not the goal. But watching this here, I think it's likely to come down and retest at very least these highs, if not prior day high, clear up some of this imbalance that we can see here and right here. I don't love shorting the market on a nice bullish day, so that's what's keeping me out of this right now. You could see how our nice anchored VWAP worked as a dynamic support today. told us buyers were in control, at least from the point in which we anchored it. If I have an anchored VWAP off the top of the high, we would be above that right now, showing us buyers, back in control after this pullback here, or at least displaying that in a theoretical way. So I'd like to find a spot to get long towards the end of the day. We're at 126 here. This to me, this structure isn't looking like we want to come all the way back down into the range and just, trend lower. I think we're likely to come up here, test this area. Again, I'm not looking at this exact line, somewhere around this area for a target. If we get long, I might hone in on that. I'm looking for a retest. Show you guys what I'm looking at right now. I'm looking for a retest and then some reaction. Maybe we want to come all the way down here. Maybe we want to come all the way down here. But some kind of a retest down to this area into what I would call a little bit of an imbalance here between buyers and sellers. Maybe retest the highs, right? Broken in the uptrend. We've got a nice break-in retest that we could look at. Maybe a retest of this area here that, was respected to a degree as resistance, right? We broke above it, kind of consolidated, bounced off it a handful of times, came back down, and then pushed back up. So I'd like to see this used as support. We might not get that, might just tear up from here, but I wouldn't want to have a stop loss right here. I would want to have one, much further down where my trading idea would start to be invalidated. So we'll wait to see if we get that, but that's what I'm looking at. A buy on ES, trading with the trend of the day, with the market structure. This isn't a huge breakout trend day, but we've certainly been trending up. If we look at this, if we look at the bullish price action off the open, we definitely chopped around here for a bit, but we pushed all the way up. Prior day high, broke above, pulled back, and now we're pushing higher. So I like this for a buy for all of those reasons. So we'll kind of hang and wait and see if it gives us an opportunity. Again, I wouldn't mind getting long on it, but I don't want to have a stop loss right here. And having one way down here would make the risk insane. Nice target area somewhere up here. Again, I'll zoom out, kind of home that in, see if I have something above or below that I would really like to target for a final area. But I think we can easily, trend back up that way. If we start to turn from here, I'm not just entering down here. At least that's my game plan right now. Going to wait for some kind of indication that we're going to, push back up. But there's definitely a possibility we come back down into the range, into the pre-market high and low area. Start coming back all the way down past the VWAP lines. Maybe we look for something else. So let's just do the old stay patient, wait and see, stick to the plan. Got a thesis, got an idea, got a way to structure risk right now. That's what I'm going to wait for. If the market gives that to me, I will capitalize, and we'll let the trade play out. Whether or not it's a winner or a loser, that's up to the market. So, chat, how are we doing? What's up, people? Let's see what we got. We got some people on here. Welcome to the show. Again, if you don't know me, my name's Zach. I trade futures live. I run a free community where I share pretty much everything that I believe goes into profitable trading. I'm on live on YouTube almost every afternoon. That's my MO right now, trading the way that you're looking at right now. And yeah, doing fun stuff like the giveaways gentleman was talking about earlier. Haven't run one of those in a while. Probably about time. I do one-on-one. It's the only thing I charge for. I'll talk about that a little bit. I got a lot of people hit me up for one-on-one. And again, I've got some stuff in the works that I anticipate increasing exposure, growing the community pretty quickly. So if you're interested in one-on-one, feel free. Book a call. Free 30-minute call. No pressure. If you're not interested, there's no paywall. I tell you everything that I do for free here and in the community. I anticipate having less time to do that coming up as more people are looking for one-on-one help. I think that's a big thing in the industry right now. You just don't see that. You get a lot of guys that run, paid Discords, kind of like what I do. They just charge for it, $50 or $100 a month. You get courses, but you don't get a lot of dedicated one-on-one mentorship time, with traders. And that's what I'm offering. So I'm glad to be able to help guys out. It's awesome. Again, zero pressure at all. Not an upsell. This isn't a feeder into a paid program. No worries if if you have no interest in doing that. But if you do, hit me up soon. I'm going to fill up pretty quick. I don't work with a lot of people at the same time. I just physically don't have that much time to do it. And I'm going to have to charge more than I'm charging now. I was doing it for a very, very inexpensive amount. Demand is increasing. Prices got to go up with that. I got to filter people. I have to get paid for the time that I'm dumping into it. So happy to talk to you about that in Discord. Book a free 30-minute call to talk about that with me if you're interested. Otherwise, hop in the free Discord. Live trading, market analysis, insights, talking about news, a lot of guys sharing profits, loss, the good, the bad, everything that goes into it, building an awesome community. We're up to like 360 something members, 370 members, adding about a dozen a day, which is great. That's growing exponentially. So awesome free community, not a P&L of, a bunch of screenshots of P&L telling you have to buy something in order to figure out the strategy that I'm using to do it. None of that. Got guys in the chat. Yeah, man. If you guys on the stream, that stream book map for free if you're interested in saving some money. Cool. Yeah, no, I feel that. I'd like to be able to learn it myself, have the program. I don't mind investing in stuff that's going to generate an ROI for me. So, I don't mind using it. Don't mind paying for it. It's pretty cool. There's also so much customization you could do with it. The even just the way that you're zooming in and out on it is really interesting. So, but 6K in 3 days, very nice, man. Watch two of them. One that just streams the heat map. The other one does heat map plus footprint. Very cool. ES and NQ. Stream is a little bit delayed if you compare it to. Gotcha. Yeah, no, it's cool, man. I'm early in on the stages with it. I'll let you guys know how it goes for me. So far, it's been really interesting to watch. But yeah, I'm a fan of if I'm going to use something, I got to get my hands on it to learn it. And I definitely don't want any delay. I'm customize it to the way that I see fit and learn it hands on. But yeah, it's not particularly cheap. In the grand scheme of things, is $100 a month, somewhere around that level. Terrible? Not really. Not for for a tool that can definitely help you out. So I'll keep experimenting with it. It's been really fun to watch so far. I'll tell you that. Really interesting to watch. Yeah, for me, right now it's just figuring out how zoomed in or zoomed out I want to be on the heat map. I like a pretty zoomed out view so far. I'm finding that to be more helpful than super duper zoomed in. Lets you see really big resting orders, areas where orders are resting, throughout the day. If you're super zoomed in, maybe you're getting a really close up view of it, but I'll kind of leave it zoomed out like most of my charts and then maybe zoom in as I go. Yeah, somewhat slow at the moment. Let's see what we get, man. I want to see somewhat of a pullback and then a pop up. Jump in, get some trades in on this. But as always, if you guys got questions, feel free to ask them in the chat. Jumped on a little bit earlier than I said I would. Not feeling great again, man. I've been traveling a lot. Wondering if that's adding into it, but I'm trying to fight off not getting sick again. So vitamin C and rest is going to be the key there. Yeah, man. I don't want to be a seller today. That's kind of my that's my bias right now. Not kind of. That's my bias right now. I want to find a place to buy. If we're gonna head higher, I think we're likely to go somewhere up to this this point of control from Friday. I think a pullback like this is likely, or definitely a potential. So I want to wait for that, see what happens. we were getting some action right at 1 o'clock, so that was exciting to jump onto, and now we've slowed down a little bit. So I don't want to get impatient, don't want to get caught up in consolidation, but I'm gonna wait to see. We kind of did just almost kiss the tops of these highs over here. I'm gonna wait for a little bit more of a pullback to that. I'd like to see around this area, or at least a little bit deeper in, and then a reaction to the upside, some indication buyers are stepping in, and we're ready to move higher. If I'm looking at Bookmap, I'll tell you guys what I'm seeing. Right around the 550s. Yeah, right around the 550s, we got resting orders, sells sitting up here. We've kind of got liquidity that moves to the upside and underneath price at any given time. I kind of look outside of that, or at least that's what I've been starting to look at. Outside of that stuff that sits there for a while, it's what real liquidity. I guess it's not coming on and off the heat map, on and off the DOM really quickly. Below that, the only thing that I'm really seeing that's sitting there is around 540. Right at 540, we got orders sitting as well, right down here. So we got buy orders down in this area. If I was going to use Bookmap to my advantage here in this situation, if I'm looking for a buy, waiting to see if price comes down, maybe to pick up some liquidity from orders resting in the market. We'll see how that starts to change as price starts to move. But that's kind of what we're looking at right down here. And then all the way up here. Below 549 to 550. That's kind of what we're looking at. But that's kind of what we got right now. Here comes price coming off a little bit. Let's see what happens with these orders. Yeah, I'd be comfortable with buys somewhere down here. I'd probably get aggressive on a buy somewhere down here if we come back to prior day high. I'd start with one and maybe look to scale in. I'd run a fairly standard stop loss, 5 to 6 points. I think that's fair because I'm looking at a solid move to the upside. Probably wouldn't hold it all the way up there if I got long down here. Maybe all the way down here would be safer, but I don't know that we're going to get that. See a little bit of volume coming in, a little bit of buyers stepping in right now on that retest. But if you guys got questions, feel free, ask them in the chat. I'm happy to talk with you. Happy to talk trading, happy to answer questions, talk about what I got on my chart, talk about pretty much anything that goes into trying to make money in these markets. But we got an interesting rest of the week. I'll talk about news real quick while I'm waiting for ES to do something. This is forexfactory.com. This is the site that I use to look at financial news events, stuff that has the potential to impact the market, to increase volatility. Looking at tomorrow, Wednesday, July 3rd. This is in Eastern Standard Time. We've got red folder, 8:15, 8:30, orange folder, 9:45, red folder at 10, red folder at 2 p.m. So we're stacked tomorrow with news. On Thursday, we've got, Thursday is July 4th, holiday, nothing going on. And then back to 8:30 a.m., big news, red folder events on Friday. We've got unemployment rate, non-farm payroll. So we got stacked news the rest of the week. It'll make for some difficult trading in the morning for the 9:30 NYSE Open session. Definitely make for some interesting trading, but we'll see what the afternoon looks like. Tomorrow might be difficult with meeting minutes coming out, 2 o'clock, but I'm going to look to trade both the morning and afternoon session on Wednesday and Friday. Friday, I usually try to jump on a little bit earlier. I don't like to be hanging out all the way into late afternoon on Friday. Let's see what's up. Trying to make a run at this. That's what it looks like. Looks like we want to make a run at the highs. Come up here and test. Yeah, we got some sells. We got some sell orders. Again, looking at Bookmap, talking about Bookmap, right at 550. Be interesting to see if we start to break through that level. I think we can definitely make a run higher if we do. There's definitely potential to come up there and then sell back off. But again, been really interesting to start to watch and understand how price reacts around these areas on this Bookmap heat map. Very cool. So we'll just see. Again, didn't get the retest that I wanted so far, so I'm not doing anything, not taking a breakout. I was looking to start buying aggressively down in this area here with a stop loss, all the way down, looking for a nice break and retest to the upside. This looks like we may want to just push higher from here. Again, I'm going to watch what happens up in this area. If we start to break above 550 with some force, I might start to get long on it up there, run a tight stop, and just try to grab some of that move to the upside. But I'd kind of be waiting to see what happens when we get up there. One more TPT account to pass. Need the 5 days. I'm opening one micro. Gotcha. Yeah, careful tomorrow. Careful the rest of the week, man. High impact news. That's the name. Gets the market moving. It can be nice. Sometimes if there's zero news, it's just super slow. We get consolidation. When it's stacked the way that it is tomorrow, just back to back to back, it can be difficult, like kind of a minefield. Try to trade in between that without having too much risk on in the market. So we'll see how that goes for everybody. I think a lot of guys blow up and a lot of guys pass accounts with big news events like this. Slow price action here from ES. Very, very, very slow price action. Like hardly moving. So I'm waiting, staying patient. We'll see if we can get something to set up for us. But again, if you guys got questions for me, man, that's why I do this. Feel free, ask away in the chat. Trading questions is what I'm looking for. Happy to yap about whatever you want to hear more about. Let's see. NQ doing something? Oddly enough, we had beautiful long opportunities on NQ during the time I don't trade lunch hour. Yeah. Yep. That's the difficulty with finding like a second session to trade, or at least what I've found. Dead on NQ. Oh, okay. Yeah, I'm assuming so. It's just super quiet. part of me moving from like power hour 3 to 4 is just schedule based, just, where I've got to make it work throughout my day. Um, but the larger part was I was getting so frustrated watching the market move all the way up until the time where I was hopping on, like 2:30, 2:45 p.m., and then be dead for power hour and kind of just maybe get like a really, really big impulsive move that I would kind of, sometimes I'll be on the right side of, but it's a little bit rough to just trade knowing that's coming and and have positions on in the market. So moving up looked like the right move, but again, I've had like the last few weeks of trading the afternoon just really, really slow consolidating price action. A little bit of movement right here, but yeah. So I mean, I'm gonna stick with this like afternoon before power hour session. Again, looking at like here's 12:30 to 1 p.m. Here's your nice move to the upside, coming right at New York lunch, the time when it's almost always dead. So it's a little bit of a toss up of when you're going to see that type of volatility. There's certain times you can expect it, but you just got to work with the market. Many have said this is the hardest trading conditions of the last 30 years. Yeah, I've heard that a lot. I try to grain of salt stuff. This looks like it wants to break to the upside. I'm watching it here. We're coming up. It looks like some of what was on the book came off. I think we got a good chance to watch this run higher coming up right now. I don't have a great way to structure risk. I don't love having a position that looks like this. I just don't love having a stop right here. It's not a bad setup, but I really, really don't want my stop here above prior day high. I think there's big potential to come down, take everybody out that's getting long right now before trailing up. If we are going to get a larger move to the end of the day, this isn't much of a pullback here. It's just not it for me. Other options, just buying the breakout here, running really tight stop loss, trying to grab a couple points on the way up if we do start to break through these 550s. But I'm kind of just going to be in the wait and see move at the minute. Yeah, orders are still there. A little bit lighter, maybe. But we'll have to see what happens at 550. Yeah, man, I don't know. Trading conditions being difficult. I've heard a lot of guys say that. I think when you run into like, just a wild bull market or wild bear market, if you're a day trader, it's not super hard. You kind of marry a bias and, you show up every day to the market looking to buy. You kind of find your spot, and as long as your timing's okay, you can make some pretty good money. The market runs really aggressively. If you do hold on to your trades, you can make a lot of money quick. Make up for the times that you're timing it wrong. Just watching this market start to break to the upside. Coming up here to test. Oh, there we go. Filled through. This looks like it wants to run. Let's see now. Did we come up here just to grab all this before coming back down? Or are we... Or are we going to break through and run? Because that was it. Came up through that 550. Interesting to see on Bookmap. You could see the volume. You could see it filled. Now, this is going to be the experience part of watching this this order flow stuff. What happens when we get here and those orders fill? Is it grabbing liquidity to come back lower, or is that breaking down the wall for pushing up higher? Got more orders coming in to sell. That's interesting to watch. Got some liquidity stacking up on the sell side. It's pretty cool too. You can see a lot of orders come on and off the book, and then because it gives you history, you could see if something was actually filled or if it was like what they call spoofing or fake liquidity, where it's orders coming on and getting pulled as price comes up towards them. It is really useful in that aspect to see that. You know how it can be sometimes. They don't give you any pullbacks worth taking. They make it hard for you on these pump days. FOMO works out in hindsight. Yeah, like, I'd say if I was doing a comparison, on how trades should feel. On trend days, it should feel like just late to the party entries, jumping in with a late entry on the move, throw your stop loss somewhere, kind of, chase the trade, and it works out really nicely. On most other days, that doesn't work out too well. So you get a lot of guys that do get lucky that are holding trades for those big home runs. But it can definitely help to identify, like, hey, we're starting to break out above all these levels. We got a lot of momentum. This looks very, very bullish. Let me try to get in and hold this trade. And that's just kind of the discretionary piece of it. But love me a good trend day, grab a nice pullback and let it rip. Yeah. I mean, I like it. I like to see it. I like to see it off the open. Once we start to break above, like a pre-market high, pre-market low, and then pull back in and then continue. I do well with that. We don't get a pullback; it just breaks and runs. Usually, I'm left in the dust. But I'll jump into those trades and hold them. Also, if we just pull back into the range, come up to VWAP and start slicing through, I do well with stuff like that. The consolidating days, the rangy days, there's a lot of times where I do get chopped up. That's why I kind of just try to stay out, but I'm doing better with trading to and from levels. Just running a little bit more conservative risk management, and doing my best to aggressively trade to and from levels on those days. This way, you start to capitalize on on the price action that's available. You don't just sit on the sidelines all day, but you're not putting so much on the line where if you are wrong a few times, you don't get killed. So broke through that area. Yep, looks like it wants to run. Yeah, this is a little bit frustrating watching this move without me. Again, pullback somewhere down around this area. I'm getting aggressively long and taking it long. This just wasn't it for me. We did just come and tap this area, so it was an opportunity, but just not nearly enough for me. This looks like it's going to move aggressively higher towards that next zone. I don't have a great way to structure risk. That's where I'm at on this one, guys. This was my setup right here if I'm looking on the 5-minute. Boom. Boom. somewhere along those lines. Didn't really get that. Didn't get the pullback that I needed. This just wasn't enough. I would have been running a stop loss right below this low with an entry up here, and my belief is that we could easily have come down here before continuing up. So would have worked today. On another day, not so much. Got sellers stacking up on Bookmap for sure. Really just a couple points above price. We got people getting short. No FOMO. Yeah. What's up? Not barcode, but something like Friday where you had nice. Yep, definitely. I liked Friday. Clean, clean rangy days are okay. Where you get really clean reactions to and from levels, I do great with that. It's not a problem. My bread and butter is opening range breakout. Yep. Nothing wrong with opening range breakout. 15-minute, 30-minute, 1 hour. You pick something that works for you. Love me a good trend day. Yeah, we saw that. Break even at 10 points and then actively manage. Yeah. Yep. No FOMO. Hydro Farmer, going fishing, gents. See you guys next time. Happy 4th. I'll see you, my man. Thanks for hopping on. I appreciate you. $55.43. Yeah, just watching Bookmap over to the side here. Definitely some sellers stacking in. Interesting. Blew right through that 550 level. A few points above that. Let's look at like a 15 here. Yeah, we got what I would call a zone up here, kind of where we're sitting right here, right? We got highs over here, all this area. Not as clean as this level up here, but we've definitely got an area that we're tapping into right here. Looking at these highs that came up, big reaction. This area right here, here. Not a super duper clean level, but definitely something that I could see. Yeah, I don't want to short this either. I really don't want to short it. Be getting smoked. I mean, it looks like there's a short play. Definitely a short play setting up. Cheap trade. You can structure risk right above where price action is now. Using Bookmap to see orders stack up. You could find a spot to place a stop loss. Just target a quick move back down. Yeah, let's use Bookmap to get a trade going, man. What I'm looking at right now is a nice heavy stack of sell orders that have formed. Nice red lines on the heat map from 55, 50, really 54 to 55. If we run into a little bit more resistance up here, I might look for a short, cheap trade. I'll get a stop loss above all of that liquidity, 5 or 6 points up, maybe even 4 or 5 points up, and we'll look for a sell coming back down towards prior day high. Definitely run the risk of it just blowing right through that and continuing, kind of like what we got at 550, but we could target a nice little pullback on this one. We'll use Bookmap today. We'll start experimenting here. Again, against the trend of the day, against the long America, which hasn't played out very nicely for me, that I talk about quite a bit. But we'll look to see if we can get a trade in. I'm just watching to see how this forms up here. $55.43. That's some buy orders sitting. Here we go, all the way up into this area. Do sellers step in to hold this? That's the next question. $55.57. Struggling here, getting a little bit of a reaction. Buyers staying in it, man. Not giving up just yet. All right, let's get the poll going, guys. Let's see what you think. It's time for a poll. How do I do this again? Let's see what you think, guys. Long or short today towards the end of the day? We're talking about the next, 30 to 40 minutes. Where are we headed? Yeah, it's eating up these orders. I think it's going to continue. Don't have it in me to short this right now, guys. Let's see, chat. Long, 100%. Yes, it's creeping up. This was the play from down here. Again, just not enough for me. Not a setup. Not enough of a pullback. Looking at this on the 5-minute chart. This is a nice little long wick doji looking candle, but just not enough for me. Right down here, we came and tapped this area. I was getting long down here. We broke below it. I'd probably be scaling in, or even if we started to push back up, I'd probably be scaling into it. But just not enough where we didn't tap back into this level right here that I liked. That was my entry point. Now stuck waiting, but like my man in the chat says, no FOMO, no chasing trades, looking for the next setup. Again, at this point, from a risk perspective, the only thing I could see is a short, but I don't like that. I don't like shorting on this day. You know, why are we trying to catch a top in the clearly trending up market? Yeah, man, I think it's just going to keep creeping higher. Looking at Bookmap, it's just been pushing through everything that comes on there. Any orders that are on here, sell orders, are getting filled, and it's just pushing higher. Looks like it's squeezing those guys. Just not a ton. The next thing really that's showing up below price, just below the area that kind of moves within a few points of it, is all the way down at 55.43, and that's not super heavy from what it's showing. Just a little bit of a peak there. Yup, long America. That's what we got here. Lunchtime was the long. Yeah, man. Pump, consolidate, pump. Close your eyes. Buy, sing the national anthem, and we should be at TP. Yep. It's one of those days, man. That's pretty much it. You would have been fine buying all day. I'm looking for somewhat of a pullback, and like I felt I was being pretty conservative. I mean, not being really greedy on the pullback. Really just looking for this area, right? Like here's the low, right? It could have pulled all the way down here, could have taken me out. But just kind of pushing into this high a little bit deeper than what it did, which is just kiss it, looking at this low right here, and tapping this prior day high. That would give me an area to get in, target above the high, cracking above, putting a fresh high in, and a stop loss that made a little bit more sense than at the level that I want to enter in. I really don't like doing that ever. When I get impatient and I enter here, right at the consolidation, pushing it higher, looking for it to push higher. If I have an area lower that I would have liked for an entry, it almost always goes to that area. Not today. Today, a nice long anywhere in here would have been cool. Opportunity to pick up a few points, 30, 40 ticks. Why I'm giving opportunity at 1 p.m. Eastern. It's going to. YM. Yeah, that meme that you posted was funny. People that trade NQ were crazy. People that trade YM. I think it's just because it's different. It's like it's in its own world, right? Like ES and NQ are pretty correlated, positively correlated. They track. YM kind of just does whatever it wants. But NQ is definitely the beast of that bunch, in my opinion, when you look at contract size and volatility, the amount that it moves. Yep, slow creep higher. That's what I think we're going to see. I think it's going to trend for the end of the day. Not giving me a way to get in, not giving me a way to structure risk. Buy and close your eyes and sing the national anthem. That was the strategy today that would have worked very well. NQ on 5 minutes, preparing for a pullback. Gotcha. Seen an inverse ES and NQ one day to follow. Yeah. Yeah, YM Dow is kind of just in its own world, man. It doesn't stay inversely correlated for forever, but it certainly has those days where NQ and ES are pumping and YM is just breaking lows. You know, um, there's definitely a lot of that. When I would focus on US 30 back in the day, YM, I'd like to see what it was doing in comparison to Nasdaq all the time, but it wasn't always tracking. NQ on 5 minutes preparing for a pullback. Maybe we'll see something on ES here, but this is just frustrating to sit in my hands and watch this. Little bit frustrating. Yep, I agree with that. I mean, for me, I never did well with like paying attention to what one was doing. I've really weaned myself off that completely, looking at NQ while I'm trading ES or vice versa, looking at YM when I'm looking at anything else. Again, I don't back test that way. I don't really trade that way. I know a lot of other guys do it. They have 17 different screens and they're looking at the dollar, multiple different things that are markets that are correlated, and using that to make educated trading decisions. I haven't been able to find that really useful. If anything, it usually just confuses me or would give me like a little bit more of a false sense of confidence to get into a trade. So I think it's focus on your own, your instrument that you're trading. Pay attention to that, chart based on that, and and go from there. That's my preference. Again, you got guys like Rips from TopStep making 5 figures, $23,000 or $24,000, whatever he was up before on TopStep Live, and that's what he does. He pays attention to. He's talking about what Apple's doing, Nvidia, all of these all these stocks that are within these indices. So works for some for sure. Man, buyers in control, just continuing this run up. This is not super fun to watch. I'll tell you that, guys. Not to be a Debbie Downer about it, but I'm gonna hang out for a little bit longer, see if anything sets up. At this point, this was my opportunity. Watching this start to move, pull back and push up. This didn't give me the pullback that I needed to get long. Just didn't give me what I needed. And then as we're breaking above, maybe that's the play using Bookmap. Hey, here we go. We're pushing above. There's a whole bunch of liquidity here. Sellers don't step in. As soon as it starts to go higher, you take the buy, really tight stop loss, and you capture some of that move. But I was watching to see at this level here. Where were we at? Yeah, the 55 area, 54, and we cranked right through that. Got a couple orders stacking up at 60, 560, and outside of that, just the standard stuff. Yeah, same here. It's kind of burning me. Only one I really use in the video, and that's kind of for quick scalps. So for example, it will tap a resistance or VWAP. You can kind of take the same thing on NQ. It's good for at least 10 to 20 points. Usually there's some type of confluence on NQ as well. Gotcha, man. Yeah, no, again, a lot of guys do it. A lot of guys trade with it. Um, all about finding, something that works for you. So for me, it was usually watching NQ along with whatever I was trading, or Dow, and or S&P when I started watching that. And you can, on certain days, certain things happen, and I would feel like, oh man, NQ is leading, and I'll be able to get the jump on one of the other indices if I'm watching NQ, and kind of take the trade on the other one. And it can feel like it works out really nicely some days, and then it just wouldn't work at all on other days. So maybe in back testing, thoroughly a plan like that, you would find something like that working out. But I hadn't found anything like that really, really worked working with correlated pairs or inversely correlated stuff. Just more information than I needed. Probably took away from paying attention to the chart and just using other tools on this chart. But again, lots of guys look at it. That's what they do with all those monitors. I feel like the Dow correlation used to work a lot better. Kind of used to lag behind NQ, but would end up catching up. Yeah. Yep. That's how I would mostly trade it. I would be trading US 30, watching what NQ was doing, and a lot of times it would feel like Dow was right behind NQ, and you could kind of start to feel it on certain days, and when it did work, it was great. It's like you're getting insider information, and you're kind of you're catching the move before it happens, and then it wouldn't. Then it wouldn't work. And again, maybe there's back testing to be done, certain market conditions to identify that, but I haven't found it. I haven't found it to be to work enough to be something that I continue doing. ES and NQ, I think, one will be stronger than the other, one will be weaker than the other. Sometimes they have pretty off days. For the most part, they track very similarly, in my opinion, on the chart. Market structure looks, very similar, with the standard differences that you hear everybody talk about, with NQ being whippy and, pulling these liquidity grab, stop hunt moves, whatever you want to call them. ES just kind of tracking a little bit tighter, trending a little bit tighter. Man, I'm falling asleep with this, guys. This is not fun. We definitely had to move up here, but this is just not it. Would have sucked for anybody trying to short this. I was thinking about it, but I'm glad that I've held to this point. You could take a cheap trade, but again, I've tried to tell myself, stop shorting S&P and the U.S. indices. It's just not working. Today that worked out well for me. So waited long enough, could try to pick the top, but I think a pullback somewhere to here, or somewhere down into this area is a fine trade to take, cheap trade. Had we tapped maybe a little bit deeper into this area, that would look okay, but this looks somewhat bearish, like we're coming off. No wick to the upside on this candle. On the 1 minute, we look like. Yeah, we're just shorting the uptrend though, trying to catch the pullback, and I don't really want to do that. Don't really want to do that. I wanted the long, wanted to look for buys. Explain what I was looking for over here. Looking for a pullback right from this area after this nice impulsive move. Something that made any amount of sense, that was anything that I would call a pullback. Didn't have to be half of the move or even a quarter of it. Somewhere right down to this area or close, I would have been getting long on the way down here really aggressively, or some bit of a reaction, and we would have captured some of this. On another day, that plays nicely. Today, this left me in the dust. On another day, and I'd argue, more days than I would like to be involved in, I buy up here, and this just comes down and stops me out before continuing in its nice move. So I got to stick to my risk management plan. I have to have a way, some consistent way to structure risk. And if the market doesn't present that, I'm left with a little bit of this frustrating watching the move play out. You had the direction right. You were looking to enter really, really close, but the market just didn't come to it. 10 ticks, 2.5 points, that would have been it for me. Again, I've done it so many times in the past, especially early on. We had someone in the chat talking about when do you guys trade, getting in early, that type of stuff. I was a chronic early enter, didn't want to wait for the market to do what I needed it to do before entering, and I'd be placing trades all the way up here. My stop loss would be way too tight. Instead of having my entry down here, my stop loss down here. Market comes down, stops me out, and then continues on its way up. So, hard to short a day like today. If you can identify what kind of day we're having early, you can tell if it's worth it to short or not. Range days or dump days is cool. Strong bullish days, not so much. I agree with that, man. If we're selling off or breaking lows, we're going to trend lower. Sure. We're having a kind of consolidating rangy day, a lot of back and forth movement, and you want to take, trades off of levels, fine. We're having a day like today, probably don't want to be shorting this. That's just an easy one. Again, early on in the day, I'll take aggressive entries off of levels, off of pre-market high, right off of not volume point of control. I don't really use that in that way. Right off of VWAP, really aggressive buys and sells as price is coming down to it from above or up to it from below. Those work out enough time to be dangerous. If I'm trading not with the trend or the most recent trend in pre-market, I try to make the trade a little bit shorter. I manage it a little bit tighter. If I'm with the trend, maybe I'm getting in and holding on to it. But outside of that, yeah, you want to identify, what's the market doing? What's it doing in pre-market? What's the trend looking like over the last few days? We talked about getting real zoomed out. And on the U.S. indices, as they're making all-time highs, pushing higher, maybe we don't want to be shorting. That was a video that I posted, I think, yesterday. Maybe we don't short the U.S. indices as they're making all-time highs. We don't try to pick the top. Wouldn't have worked out very well today. That's for sure. Could have caught some of this move on the way back down, but out of today, this is pretty much the only opportunity that you had. Some of this over here, sure. Yeah, this is a frustrating one, guys. It's a frustrating one. But we'll be here, living to fight another day, preserving capital. Solid morning. That worked out well for me. But again, like I keep saying, I'd like to get some trading in here in the afternoon. I just needed to do something for me. It needed to give me a setup. I'm tempted to go back through and just watch the market a little bit in replay mode over the last few weeks and see what power hour looks like, and maybe look at making a schedule change that way. But my gut tells me as soon as I do that, I'll start seeing the huge moves from 1 to 3 p.m. That's usually the way that it goes when you try to change something like that. So I'll take a look, but I'm probably going to keep doing what I'm doing. Just waiting to see if we can get some action that will play out. This is action, right? Like this is definitely a move. I'm sure we got a lot of guys in this that are running up on that. Congratulations if we caught this. Just didn't give me the pullback that I needed here. Consolidation pump. We had some nice pullbacks here before pushing higher earlier on. This is just the slow, tight trend to the upside. So anyway, guys, I'm gonna wrap it up on this one. I'm not gonna short anywhere off this area, and I'm not gonna get a pullback that's gonna make sense. There's really not a level of structure in here that I would want to see it pull back to before getting long. So I don't have a trade. I'm not gonna start FOMOing in or anything like that. So I'm gonna wrap it up. Another no trade session, man. A little bit frustrating. Maybe I'll do something fun on one of these next ones where we'll just try to scalp our way to profit and probably blow an account. But we'll get some action in here at some point. So I appreciate you guys being on. Quick disclaimer, I'm not a financial advisor. None of this that you see here or anywhere else is financial advice. Make sure you read the full disclaimer in the description of this video and on my website, realdealfutures.com. Trading's risky. Most traders lose money. You're probably going to lose all or more of the money that you intend to trade with. I'll talk to you guys soon. I'll talk to you in Discord. Hop in the free Discord if you're, not a big fan of Power Hour. Hop in the free Discord if you're not already in the free Discord. Be happy to talk to you there. Happy to have you part of that community. Thank you for being here, guys. I'll talk to you soon.